On today's show, we recap the Stanley Cup final and what the hobby fallout could be from Florida's win and Edmonton's loss again. Plus, a couple of big boys have been pulled and sold over the last week. We'll dive into what that could mean for the hobby and have hobby boxes priced out the market. We'll get into that also. This is episode 45 of the Hockey Card Haven podcast. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome. This is episode 45 of the Hockey Card Haven podcast. This is a weekly show diving deep into the world of hockey card collecting, flipping, and investing. Just a reminder that this podcast is free and available on Spotify, also up on YouTube as well, putting out new episodes each and every Wednesday. I'm your host, Mike Distefano, and Anthony Santini back in the co-host chair. What's up, buddy?
What's up, buddy? Good to be back. All dialed in now after a huge ending to the Stanley Cup. I mean, what a nice end to the season. What's been a really good year, crazy deadline, crazy offseason, crazy playoff, and obviously Florida Panthers surpassed the Edmonton Oilers. I really thought the Oilers were going to have it this year, but kind of an underwhelming performance for a juggernaut of a team. I mean, just total domination.
Yeah, I mean, the Panthers were the best team in the league, best team in the NHL. They proved it time and time again. And then again, last night, getting out to that lead, building it, and they end up winning 5-1 to beat the Oilers in 6 games and claim their second straight Stanley Cup, 3 straight finals. So yesterday after the game, though, Matt Tkachuk said he believes that this team should be in the dynasty conversation. Do you believe that this Panthers team are now or should now be considered a dynasty?
I mean, I still think they're like a ways away. I heard that conversation coming even game, talking about, should they be a dynasty or even a conversation? I do believe there should be a conversation. I don't think they're close to dynasty status. 3 years heading to the Stanley Cup final is already such an accolade that I think is and should be recognized. 2 years in a row winning the Stanley Cup final hasn't happened, I believe, I think it was 1988.
What? Back-to-back cups? No, we've had 2 since then. The Lightning did it in 2021.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, sorry. It was a different stat.
Pittsburgh did it also back then. They're the first ones to win it on the road or at home, I think, in back-to-back years. I think might be the stat. They did it at home both years. Might have been that stat that you were thinking of.
Yeah, something last night I was listening to. I mean, there's been a lot of good teams in the last 15 years. Couple that you already mentioned, the Tampa Bay Lightning obviously went on that big run during the COVID time. I kind of remember growing up, Pittsburgh Penguins when they were going against the Detroit Red Wings. That was kind of when I got into hockey. But I think maybe one more year, one more win, just getting there and even winning it, three-peating, would solidify dynasty status for this Florida Panthers team. They're almost there.
So you need one more year to give them the three-peat, something that no other team has done. So I guess two teams have done it in the Cap era. No team has ever three-peated. So that's to you what they need to do to be considered a dynasty.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, even if they make it, if they lose, if they win, I think that kind of solidifies the status. 4 cup finals in a row would really do it for me. And the three-peat would just kind of be the cherry on top. So I think they're one more year away, but either way, I don't want to take too much away from them because it has been such a successful story the past 5 years. And I'm a huge fan of Florida hockey right now. It's just been awesome.
A lot of people are. And I was in Florida. I was on a cruise over the weekend, and I was in Florida for game 4. Yeah, game 4 when Edmonton came back down 3-0, tied it, and then eventually Draisaitl won it in overtime. I was in Florida watching it at a local bar, so that was kind of cool to be the antagonist in the crowd cheering. Oh, let's go! Yeah, when Edmonton started to make the comeback, I was getting ragged on earlier in the game for being the lone Canadian out there, so I had to throw it back to those Americans anytime the Oilers started to get going. But they did end up winning the game, so I got the last laugh. Well, I guess technically they'll get the last laugh because they won the cup and Canada's drought remains. But it's funny because we talk about the Panthers being a dynasty potentially. At least they're starting to enter that conversation. It's the beginning of a dynasty, perhaps, if they can continue, to make deep runs and win championships. But their hobby market doesn't really reflect that, though. And I find that kind of bizarre. And I wonder why that is. Is it because it's Florida, not really a big time hockey market? Or is it because there's just so many guys that they don't have a true like superstar? You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of really good players. Like Barkov is an exceptional player. Reinhart has proven to be a terrific player. Sam Bennett just won a Conn Smythe. He's a great player. Aaron Ekblad. I mean, Marchand's a bit of a different story. He just got there. But there's a lot of really good players, but no one's considered like a hobby darling. I find it funny after 3 straight years to the Cup, even Matt Tkachuk, like his stuff doesn't sell nearly as much as you'd think it would, considering the player he is. Does that kind of surprise you? And do you think maybe after back-to-back Cups, they'll start to get that hobby love?
I mean, 3 years going to the Cup final, you think it would have happened now. The only time I really remember anyone on the Florida Panthers really having some buzz around the hobby, if you remember 3 years ago when Matt Tkachuk came back from injury, I believe it was his collarbone he broke, or he was battling with some crazy injury. He played like that
before
game
the injury, he was unbelievable.
Yeah, like his stuff was just going nuclear. PSA 10 selling for upwards of $300. I remember a bunch of his Future Watch stuff just popping up at the show. And then you walk back to 10 minutes later, boom, gone. He was really sought after. But ever since, I haven't noticed anyone on Florida. You already mentioned Alexander Barkov, one of the best centers in the game, arguably one of the best players in the game. And you barely see people going for his young guns. You barely see people looking for his Future Watch. You barely even see him out on the floor because not a lot of people are buying them. You look at some of their other top-end talent. Sergei Bobrovsky, the only time I see this guy's cards come out are during the playoffs.
During the playoffs, that's it.
I never see any Future Watch, any young, nothing in the regular season. But every playoff, time and time again, you see the Future Watches go up for story sales on Facebook, at shows, and that's when things start to pop out. Even Aaron Ekblad Young Guns, haven't seen those in a while. It's just not rare, it's very rare to see some of these cards pop up for sale because people aren't really looking for them. It's surprising considering how much success they've had the past 3 years.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre. But I mean, there clearly was a lot of players here that I think did get some love throughout the Cup run. Like I'm seeing that Sasha Barkov, there was an auction. It was a Slab Sharks auction, actually. May 1st, a PSA 10 Barkov Young Gun sold for $216. The latest sale was yesterday, best offer for a PSA 10, or a couple days ago, $360. So there's been a pretty significant jump. And even before that, right, you're looking again on auction June 12th, $355 for a PSA 10 Young Guns of his, right? You're looking, Future Watch autos in the same ilk, $375 for PSA 10 Future Watch auto of Alexander Barkov. So you saw a little bit of it. But will it sustain? That's kind of the question. Even a Matt Tkachuk, who's a big time player, didn't have the greatest playoff, I suppose, but he, only selling for $190 in a PSA 10 Young Guns. It's a little surprising, but someone who I'm curious to see specifically what their market does after the playoff that they had is Sam Bennett. That's a player I'll be curious. It's almost going to be like a case study for how much hype can drive up a market here, because look, Sam Bennett Young Guns were $5 to $10 all year long. Like that's what you're paying for a Sam Bennett. No matter how good he was in the playoffs last year, won a Stanley Cup, he was great. He had a 25 goal regular season. The year before, again, strong, playoff player, and you could have bought him again for $5-10. Just checking. What's today? The 18th. His raw Young Guns are still only selling for $15 the day after he ended up winning the Conn Smythe. He could buy his raw Young Guns for $15 a pop. Like, is this guy ever going to get the recognition he deserves for being a top end player? Because it just doesn't seem to be the case. Let me see. A PSA 10. Okay, PSA 10 actually did decent. $180 on June 16th. So a couple of days ago. It's only a pop 163. And Card Ladder now valuing it at 192 after the win. So maybe Bennett, because it's such a low pop at 163, PSA 10 pop count. Perhaps that could be a reason why it's gone up a little bit. But even then, there's only one sale at that price. The rest of them are a little lower than that. To actually 180. 180, 157. So it started to go up a little bit, 175 as the cup final went on. It started to kind of climb, but I this is a card again, purchased the other day for $179. You want to make a bet that this thing can be had for $100 by midseason next year?
I'd probably even say half of that, unless you were to go sign with a team like Toronto. I can't really see it being even more than $100.
Well, let me see what it was going for. I'm assuming I can check the current price for his PSA 10 Young Guns. If you check it out, it's not even showing me anything right now. February 20th, there was a sale at $44.28. There's got to be another sale after that. I don't know why the chart's not giving me proper. Hold on, let me look at the 1 year. Okay, there we go. 1 year high. So we're at a 1 year high of 193 sold on June 12th. So $193 was the high that it sold on June 12th. You look back at the start of the playoffs, is PSA 10 Young Gun, April 3rd. So before the playoffs started, that was the last sale before the playoffs, $68. $68 on March 20th was 68. April 3rd was still 68. It could be as gotten as low February 6th for $42.29. And then he has the playoff he has, and that $42 buy all of a sudden is flipped for $180, let's say.
Wow.
Pretty good ROI for those who invested a little bit into Sam Bennett, I would say. I'll be curious, though, to see if it could hold. I think it might depend on what he ends up doing next year, right? If he ends up in Toronto, that could be, we could see that hold a little stronger. But if it doesn't, well, it probably will see that enter below $100 again, much like it did this year.
Yeah, I think even too, like you look at someone like Sam Reinhart. I was having this conversation with one of my buddies last year where Sam Reinhart was due for a big contract last year, obviously won the Stanley Cup final, fell short of winning the Rocket Richard, obviously to Austin Matthews, just ridiculous 69 goal season.
Felt very short this year too to Leon Draisaitl.
I know, and we do have that bet going, so I guess I do owe you a little bit of a lunch. I'm happy you didn't forget about that.
What a
but yeah, everyone thought he was going to cash in after winning the Stanley Cup last year, goes in, signs a pretty team-friendly deal, and kind of, as it reflects from a hobby perspective, not a lot of increase in price ever since. Sam Reinhart's still kind of sitting around that $15 to $25 range max for a Young Guns raw. Sam Bennett, I think, is going to see that same sort of path as he's led into free agency now. My prediction is he just signs like an 8-year deal, $8 million, heads back to Florida, stays there. Obviously, as we look from a hobby perspective, won't see too much of an increase. On the flip side, though, if he goes to a team like Toronto, 7-year deal, $10 million, second line center, Tavares is out of there, we could see Young Guns go up to $30. We could see PSA 10s go up to $250. We could see future watches up to $200 because we know just how crazy some of these collectors are in Toronto when players come.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with him. On the other side of the coin, Connor McDavid. He at one point saw his market grow throughout the Cup final, with a lot of people wanting to get a piece of McDavid before he won the Cup, and they gambled about midway through the series when it was close and it was tied at 2 games each. There was a sale as high as $4,500 for PSA 10 Young Guns of Connor McDavid, $4,500. And since then, there has been a sale, the latest sale now after falling in the Cup final, the latest sale, $3,500. So wow. It's gone down $1,000 in the last week-ish. Yeah, about a week, a little over a week between those sales. And that's the hype. Hype drives the hobby, and when you're not winning Stanley Cups and you find yourself down and getting jobbed and it doesn't look like you're going to win, that's not going to sell a lot of cards for you. And it's kind of crazy how McDavid's market dropped a full $1,000 mid-series because it looked like the Oilers were down and out of it. And my question to you though is, when we look at that, is going 0-2 in the Cup final, like, will that hurt his hobby market, you think, in any way? The fact that he's now 0-2 in the Cup final?
I mean, I don't think it would hurt his market. Obviously, if it went on the flip side, we know just how nuclear everything would have went if he won 2-0 in the past 2 years, obviously winning 2 Stanley Cups. But like you said, he's 0-2 right now, could go down as one of the biggest, best players in the sport to never win the Stanley Cup. I think in a long term, he should get one, but he's in year, 12 or 13, I think, right now. And it's almost the time to have that conversation.
You're like year 10.
No, is
He
it?
drafted in 2015.
2016. So
Yeah,
okay,
we're in 2025.
okay, either way, 2 years off. 2 years off. Give me a break. Either way. But you know what I'm gonna say here, and it always comes down to, all right, I'm sure he'll get one. We all saw that interview where Wayne Gretzky said he's too talented not to get one. And I think
You gotta get a goalie. You gotta get a goalie.
True. They need to get a goalie. They need John Gibson in there. But for Connor McDavid, it's going to get to that point where time's ticking away and you're kind of just saying, like, all right, there's 8-9 years left in his career right now, 5 of really, really good hockey. I mean, the longevity of his game, I'm not sure how long it could stand for. I mean, we've seen players that have been super explosive start to slow down, and I don't think he's going to have that exact same explosive, firepower when it comes down to year 16, 17, 18, 19, and then leading up to 20 where it starts to slow down. So I think this 0-2 stand that he took the past 2 years is a big, massive swing and a miss. And obviously for the hobby, if he were to go up 2-0, we could have seen McDavid's PSA 10s go for at least 5,000, maybe even more. So definitely leaving a big dent in his hobby, market.
Yeah. Well, just like last year though, like we did see it yo-yoed throughout the year. When he was doing well, it was like a $3,000 card, or when he was not doing well, it was like a $3,000 card. Started to heat up a little bit through the season, got up to like 35, 37, started doing well in the playoffs, gets up to 4,000, 42, 4,500. I think for it to get up over 5K, I think it will take a Stanley Cup to make it happen, and probably be up like 3-2, on the verge of winning a Stanley Cup, because we all know, there's a small window to take advantage and capitalize on a hot market. And I don't think it'd be at 5K for long, but the day leading up to, and maybe the night of winning a championship, I think that's when we could see a lot of, cards go bananas. But I'm with you. I don't think it's going to hurt his legacy overall, because it's not his fault. He still led the playoffs in scoring. Like, still had like 30.
He played amazing. He was unreal.
He was fine. He was good. I mean, only one goal in the Cup final, which is going to leave a sour taste in his mouth and a lot of other people's mouths. But ultimately, I still believe in McDavid and Draisaitl, and they'll be able to bring that team back and hopefully finish the job at some point. That just got to tip your cap to that Panthers team, man. They're so freaking good. Such a good team. Well built, balanced, structured. They can score. They're physical. They hit. They punch. They're rats. They're the whole package, man. Like, they're the standard in the NHL. And all other 31 teams are going to figure out how to try and beat them. And for 2 straight years, no one's found the formula. But everyone's going to try and find it eventually here.
Hey, quick curveball for you, though. If you're a McDavid collector and you're looking at long-term, you look at next season, what would you rather take? What do you think would increase his price more? A big 65-goal Rocket Richard season or a Stanley Cup win? What would you rather have? What do you think would give a bigger increase to his price?
Cup win. I think the Cup win. Yeah.
I think ultimately the answer, he scored 60. I think it was like 60, 63, 64.
I think he's gotten that close before. So I think that, that wouldn't be that amazing, a 65 goal, Rocket Richard year. Yeah, he had 64. He had 64 goal Rocket year 2 years ago. So that wouldn't do it for me. A Stanley Cup would be what would what would make his hobby market really explode, I think. And that's pretty much all it would take. Maybe an outstanding Olympics next year
Ooh.
potentially could possibly give him a boost. Like we did see Four Nations after scoring the game winner. We did see a little bit of a price increase after that with him. So maybe that could be something also, like outside of a cup. What else could make his market grow? I think a strong performance, gold medal delivering performance out of McDavid at the Olympics next year in Milan. That could help his market, I think.
I think that's more on level with like the Rocket Richard. Maybe the Stanley Cup is too much of an outreach, but
Yeah.
the question actually almost stands better if you say, what would you rather have, a McDavid gold medal or a 65 goal season next year? If you were to say, all right, one or the other would increase the price more. I think personally a gold medal. I think a gold medal would really do it, especially if he gets the golden goal for it too. Whew, massive.
Yeah, because all eyes would be on him, right?
Oh,
Whereas
for
like
sure.
65 goal season, like they'd be talking about it, but it's like, yeah, well, Matthews had 69 a couple of years ago. He had 64 a couple of years ago. It's like 65 is not that difficult to get for a guy like him, right? He got 64 once. He could get 65, but I think a gold medal would be far more lucrative for his hobby market. Speaking of studs and franchise players, and speaking of guys who might be generational talents, there's been a couple of big boys that have been pulled and sold recently. We know that there was the Alex Ovechkin rookie card that the Young Guns buyback auto, great 8 of 8 that sold. They were the ones that were in extended. There's 8 of them. They were all signed by Ovechkin, and they were numbered to 8, and put into select packs of extended. And everyone was chasing them a few weeks back when it came out. One was pulled and put to auction right away, and it sold for $27,100 Canadian on Slab Sharks. 27K basically for this Alex Ovechkin Young Guns buyback auto out of 8. Too much? Too little? Just right? Where are you out this, Anthony?
I think this is way too much. Like I sent a message in the group chat a couple days ago, and when I saw that this card was at auction, I think it was last week when I saw it, it was around $18,000. There was a bid. My jaw was on the floor. I could not believe that it was at 18,000. And then when I saw that it finished at $27,000 for an autographed Ovi Young Guns. I mean, I get it. It's numbered. I get it. It's certified for Upper Deck. But does it really take that much for someone to go to a game, stand by the tunnel, get it signed, get it certified?
It's way different.
I understand it's in that same ballpark. I totally understand that the look of it. All right, cards autograph. I get it, it's number. And then you're going to say being certified for Upper Deck, it's a buyback. I get it. But if you're going to spend $27,000 on a card like Alexander Ovechkin, an Alexander Ovechkin Young Guns, that's autographed. Don't you expect that card that's $27,000 to be drastically different than any other card, any other Ovechkin rookie card? Like
how?
Someone,
do you not know what a buyback is?
Yeah, I understand what a buyback is.
Well, how is it going to be different?
I'm talking like a patch autograph, something cool from the cup, something.
But then it's not a buyback. Then it's a completely different card. You're altering the card.
I'm talking buyback anymore. $27,000 Canadian used on a sports card. Wouldn't you rather put that $27,000 Canadian on a sports card that's a nice patch, beautiful autograph, whatever it might be, rather than something that little Johnny could go to a game, get it autographed? And what I'm saying is, I know it's not the exact same. You put up 2 cards together. One's the buyback and one's not the buyback. They're both autographed. I know there's a massive difference being a buyback and not a buyback, certified for Upper Deck. I understand all that. But they look the same. I'm talking just looks. Wouldn't you want for $27,000 to go out and buy a crazy patch? That's kind of what I'm beating the drum at right now. a crazy beautiful card that someone looks at and they're like, 27,000. You know what though? That's real nice. That's a nice patch. I've never seen the Hawkeye on the old jersey when he was in his, you know what I'm trying to say? So that's kind of my battle with it right now.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, I personally don't agree with that logic. Like the whole point of the buyback and the whole point of the card is that it's his Young Guns. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's his Young Guns, and it's the exact card, right? They bought those back and they didn't alter it, right? It's not a like they had those Young Guns renewed or whatever, but then they've also made like those acetate Young Guns from years down, or they've made the ice ones or the clear cut Young Guns, which aren't really Young Guns. They're just using the same design, but it's not. It's printed in whatever 18, 19, 20, 21. This is not what it is. This is a card that was purchased or that was printed for the 0506 Series 2, his actual hard signed Young Guns, which I mean, yeah, I guess if you had one, could you take one to a game and possibly get a signed? Sure, but it's not inscribed the grade 8. It doesn't have 8 of 8, and it's not, it doesn't have the story behind it. I think the story counts for something because this is a card that everyone is going to know was inserted randomly into packs, and this was known as the record-setting card. And I think that's the difference. Like that's why this is in here, right? This is a milestone achievement type of card for Ovechkin, and only 8 people will be able to have them. So if you're an Ovechkin fan or just a hockey card fan in general, you're going to want to have some of the best cards in history, Grail cards. I think this could turn out to be one because the story is there. Ovechkin broke the record, and they celebrated him within the following flagship product by buying back his Young Guns, which were $1,000 Young Guns, and they randomly inserted them into packs after he signed them all personally, hard signed, and then put them back out into the ethers, into the universe for someone to find. I think that story is incredible. I think all of that adds value, and clearly it's worth 27,000. Somebody paid it. There was a bidding process. A bidding war ensued. Someone was willing to pay $27,000 for it, and I'll be curious what the other ones will go for after this now, right? Like the 8 of 8 is going to be interesting. This one was an 8 of 8. I think it was like 1 of 8 or 3 of 8 or something.
Yeah.
1 of 8. The 8 of 8, I think will go for even more. I think we're looking at probably $40,000 card as an 8 of 8. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. You may not see it.
No, I'm not saying I don't agree. It's just like these I agree with what you're getting at. It's just these numbers to me are like really. So I pulled up this.
I'm looking at this right now. It's a rookie card. It's a rookie that's numbered to 8. At the end of the day, it's a rookie card that's numbered to 8. So how many Ovi rookies are numbered to 8?
Can you pop this up right here? I'm trying to present this Ovechkin. So I searched this up. This was sold August 20th, 2023, obviously during the boom of hockey cards, during the boom of collectibles. And this is my conversation. Obviously a different card. However, the look of it is almost identical to the buyback. All you're getting is an autographed card. I get it. It's out of 8, but look at that price. You're going to tell me that this card and the 1 out of 8, I just had it right here. Here it is 20 to 25 times the price. I don't even like the autograph on this. The autograph on this is way nicer than the one on this.
So the difference here, there's 2 differences here. One, again, this is buyback. You can prove that this was actually signed, whereas the other one, you're hoping that it was signed. You have no idea if that was actually signed by Ovechkin. Well, I guess it is authenticated, right?
Yeah.
Now, is it the autograph is authenticated, or is it just given a 10? Yeah, I guess it is authenticated. I suppose that's what they're supposed to be doing. But I mean, to me, that doesn't mean anything. Like that was sold first of all in 2023, so before he even broke the record. So now he's the record breaker, and this card was put out as a celebration. So there's meaning behind this card. That's why I think it has so much more of a premium than the other one's just a random meaningless autograph. This one actually has meaning and collectability. And again, what drives the hobby, Anthony?
The hype, baby.
They marketed the crap out of this card.
They did.
Everyone was chasing it.
There
Everyone
was
was
nice
chasing it.
photos too
Everybody
of him,
wanted
like,
it.
signing.
Yeah, exactly. There was a whole marketing blitz behind it. So people knew that this was coming out and there was a chase for it, which meant there was a low supply, high demand. And this is what happens. You end up seeing things get bid up like this because the demand gets so high. And that's kind of how it happened. I'm telling you, 8 of 8 is going to sell for way more than this 1 of 8 did. I guarantee it. Guarantee.
All right. Well, I'll take the L on this one, I guess. We'll see, though. We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see. All right. The other card that actually sold recently that was considered a big boy. There was the cup came out last week, and probably you could argue the biggest card within the cup was already pulled by Grant over at GP Sports. It was the Connor Bedard 1 of 1 shield out of the cup, and this bad boy. Anthony, this bad boy. Did you hear the night this got pulled, what he was offered for this?
I actually, to be quite frank with you, I had no idea this card was pulled.
Oh, you
No
didn't see
idea.
it. You've been
I
off
had no idea.
Instagram.
I had
You're
no
off
idea.
Instagram all weekend, I'm sure, because this thing was paraded around IG. Okay, what do you here, Mr. I know what all cards should be worth? What do you think that this is worth or should be worth? What would you offer on this card?
Should
What would
be
you
worth.
offer? What would you offer on this card?
Awful.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think and compare to like high-end McDavid the Cup stuff. Like I'm trying to obviously 1 of 1 and Shield is so different. So I think like high-end McDavid stuff's like 50. I'd say like maybe like in that 80 to like $100,000 range, especially with the way he's been playing. I mean, if this card was pulled last year, like if this was last summer, this card might honestly have a bounty of $1 million on it. Like genuinely. But right now, maybe 100,000 maybe is safe. I don't know, ish.
You don't know? You have no idea?
No.
So I thought did I see somebody may have had a bounty on this card actually. I thought I read that somewhere or saw that. But anyways, there was an offer that night that was posted on this. So again, it's like would you say that this is his best like the best Bedard card you could get? Like if you're a Bedard collector, is this the best card to get? A cup 1 of 1 shield auto?
I mean, I think that Young Guns 1 of 1 is the best, but this is for sure second.
Okay.
Second.
Yeah, I could accept that logic. I don't know actually. I think I'd rather the shield auto because at least you're getting an auto.
I would also rather this card, like much nicer, more beautiful, obviously extremely rare, but that just kind of staple of Young Guns and that being the rookie card and them making 1 of 1s now. And it's like, all right, this is Bedard's like 1 of 1 Young Guns, which has always been the staple for the past 25 years plus. Personally, I think is his most valuable, but I mean, me personally, if I were to pick, just like you said, I'm going with that.
So this card, there was an offer of 150 grand turned down that night. So he was offered 150 grand for it. Who the lucky owner it was in a case break from GP Sports. Turned down 150K for that card.
I can understand that, man. I mean, I if it was me, I'd probably sell it. But I can definitely understand if someone was in the right position where they could kind of hold on to it and they were a believer of Bedard and they kind of think they could get a lot more value. Because who knows? Maybe no one really knows what the value is for a massive card like that. He sells it for 150K and then what? A hot start, a 15 goal October for Bedard, and he comes out flying with out of the gates, and then out of nowhere, what, $400,000, $500,000 card? I mean, it's tough to gauge value just because of how rare it is.
Is this a 1 of 1 right now? 2016, the Cup Black Shield auto 1 of 1 BGS 9 of McDavid. Now, again, this is 2019. We're in a much different era than actually, this is second year. This isn't even first year. It's a second year card, but a second year McDavid 1 of 1 Black Shield auto went for 12,000. That was back in 2019 though, like pre-COVID. The card market is vastly different, so you can't even look at that really as a comparison. Plus, it's a second year card compared to a rookie year. But yeah, it just goes to show that these Cup Shield one of ones, like these are highly sought after cards, and those who have money in the hobby, they want them. Like there are Shield collectors, like that's all they collect is big time Shield cards, and I'd imagine that someone's gonna want the Bedard, and they'll pay heavy to have it. I would think. And right now, like his market's kind of low, like certainly a lot lower than it was, a year ago this time. So it might be a good time to buy in to Connor Bedard. That's for sure.
You remember? Quick note, talking about this. Do you remember last year we analyzed on this podcast? I couldn't tell you what episode it was, but our boy Laffer did a big trade where it was an Austin Matthews Young Guns PSA 10 against a Connor Bedard Young Guns PSA 10, and the person with the Matthews added cash.
Yeah, it was like another $100 cash or something.
No, it was more. I'd love to end up looking it up, and maybe we could talk about it next week. But I think it was
either way,
like
even if it was a 1-for-1, insanity. The last sale on a Connor Bedard PSA 10 was $643 Canadian. Wow. June 16th at auction. 643 Canadian. What's card value? Card ladder values it at $649. So basically $650 is what a Bedard PSA 10 goes for now. Raw, I've been seeing them in like the $200 to $250 range as a raw card. $200, you could probably get it at raw. I've seen some go for a slightly below $200. So it may be turning into a bit of a buy if you are looking to acquire some Bedsy. That's a bit of a hot take for me. Maybe Bedsy's a buy this summer if he can remain that low.
I don't think it's a hot take. I mean, the only thing that would keep me away from it is like the pop count and how they're not too rare. But besides that, like if you're a big believer on Connor Bedard, I mean, right now is the time. Like, don't shy away now that his stuff is at all-time lows and really drop it.
Yeah, maybe you stay away from like the base Young Guns and if you can get stuff at he's like I'm seeing clear cut Young Guns 2,500. Like that sounds decent for a clear cut Bedard Young Gun in a PSA 10. You know what I mean?
Is there any sales on exclusives? Like what would an exclusive go for? I think exclusives were like 20. I remember like the thing is like 20 times the raw amount.
No, not quite 20. I think it's like 9 or 10 or something like that.
Really? Okay. I remember doing this a couple of years ago and looking into it, but it was obviously differing from like each player. But I mean, if you were to tell me what Bedards are going for like 225 right now, 200 times 20 is that's a little bit too low. I don't know, 4,500 for a Bedard exclusives raw. Does that sound about right?
Bedard, so the checklist exclusive sold for $60 for the checklist exclusive, which actually doesn't seem terrible. An exclusive sold March 27th, so that was still when the season was going on. It's been a little bit since then, but $5,500 for an exclusive.
All right,
$5,500 for an exclusive. Now, I would not be paying $5,500 for that now, but like that's if I were to get into the Bedard market just because of the high pop count on his regular. If you can still get some of the cheaper cards, I guess not cheaper cards, some of the more lower pop cards at the same similar decent price, then I think that that might be something that I might be looking to do this summer. We'll see what
don't give away too much information about the game plan.
Possibly. I had a rant that I wanted to get into. We still have time. Yeah, we still got a few minutes, I suppose. It's not really much. Like I've spoken to a couple of card stores that like my local local card stores, LCSs, and I've noticed that they've started blowing out some of their boxes. Like I was at my local shop and I saw that they had $99 hobby boxes for pretty good products. Like this year's Allure, $99 for this year's Allure. Like that was like $180, $160 or whatever it was when it first came out. $99. Apparently that's below cost. Last year's Parkhurst Champions, McDavid's or Bedard's Parkhurst Champions rookie year, $99. What else? Get Credentials. Bedard's credentials year, 23, 24, $99. Like there was a bunch of cards, and they told me essentially stuff that we have cases of, we're blowing it out at $99 a box because we need to start recouping some costs. Because at the prices that the boxes are at, nobody was buying them, and they're just sitting on money and losing money left, right, and center. And I wonder, like, are we going to see this happen more? And I asked them, like, oh, like, what does that mean? And essentially, they said no one's buying these boxes at these outrageous prices. Like they've just distribution has gotten too out of hand at what they're selling this stuff for. And no one's buying it. The consumers are pushing back, and now the stores are starting to push back on the distributors, and apparently, and I've talked to now 2 stores about this. They're cutting their allocations. Like they're telling these distributors, no, we don't want this. We don't want that. It's too expensive.
Really?
No one's buying it. We don't want that. So instead of trying to take on all the dead stock that distributors typically like to give to the stores, the stores are just saying, no, we don't want that. If that means you got to cut us a little bit on some of the flagship or some of the other stuff, all right, that's fine. We don't want to sit on this stuff forever and take losses on it. Like they're taking losses on some of these boxes. Like I know that EX 2000 box that came out a few months ago, like they have it on sale for $199 a box. That was like a $350 box at one point. $300 box. Like it's 100 off. They're not making 100 per box. So they're probably maybe making 40 a box, 50 a box. So they're maybe. And now if they're blowing it out at $200, $199, they're losing 40, 50, 60 bucks a box. So it's really interesting. I think if you hold, this might be a bit of a, I don't know if the right word is like a revolution, but like a bit of a revolution against distributors here with, starting with the consumers not willing to pay those prices. And it first hurt the stores. And now the stores are saying, you know what, screw this. We're not going to keep taking on this product. If no one's going to buy it, keep it, distributors, keep your product. And I hope that means that we will start to go backwards when it comes to pricing some products, because it's gotten outrageous over the last couple of years. Like, the Bedard tax came in and it just put everything through the roof. And even a little bit before that, like O-Pee-Chee Platinum, used to be a pretty affordable brand. And now I think it's like $300 a box. And again, it was like $100 box at one point. SPA used to be, $150. It was $600 when it first came out for Bedard's SP Authentic. Like it's gotten to a boiling point where consumers and the card stores themselves are basically saying, no, we're not buying this stuff because it's too expensive. And I'm curious if there'll be any follow from it, and if we'll see maybe some hobby box pricing start to go down in the coming months or years.
I mean, for me personally, my biggest takeaway was when I started 2-3 years ago opening up boxes, and I felt I always need to open up boxes to kind of feel like I was, part of the hobby. And this is how you make money. You open up a $40 blaster and then you pull a $500 card, and then this is how you sell it. And I never really got to the point of actually finding that $500 card, which was the issue.
Yeah. But it was affordable when the blasters were only $20.
Yeah.
Now the blasters are 40, 50 bucks. It's outrageous. Like you're paying the same price for a blaster nowadays that you used to be able to buy a Mega for.
So I never open up boxes, and I've always said that ad nauseum in the show. Like maybe if I get like, I don't know, like a $3 pack at a show, sure, I'll open it.
I did buy, by the way, when I walked in and saw the price of those boxes, I did buy a $99 box of credentials, because we all know that I love credentials. And I bought a $99 box of Allure as well. So I'm going to be ripping those on this channel, by the way. So keep an eye out for those videos coming up shortly.
Sweet. Love it. I mean, for me, on my birthday in February, I did open up a box of Celebrini Michkov. Celebrini looking for, Series 2 for Celebrini and Michkov's Young Guns. Spent, I think it was $170 or $175 for the hobby box. And I kind of said, you know what, for my birthday, I got a little bit of money, like whatever. I never open up boxes. Let's do it. Let's see if I can get something. Pulled the Michkov, sold the Michkov for $140, and I was so fired up I was able to get the Michkov. But all in all, an end of story, I still didn't even break even. I actually ended up losing $30, $35, whatever it was that I paid, and I pulled one of the chase cards.
Yeah.
It's almost
I mean, your hope, the thing is, like, you're always, the thing when you buy hobby boxes, you're hoping to get the exclusive,
the variations.
Like
I
that.
get it. I get
If
it.
you don't get a variation, you're probably not going to make your money back ultimately. Like, you got to get one of those variations in order to do that. Or, I guess Celebrini was getting 200 out of the gate, so you were able to get that. But yeah, like Michkov now, I was just at a card store earlier today. I'm going to show you my pickups in a second. There's an $85 sticker on it, like, and then they sell for like $70 now. So be happy that you got your 140 for it, because boxes are still $160 a piece. And, the second best young gun is a $60 card. So you pull the second best young gun, you're still down $100 on the box. So it's kind of, boxes are, I mean, they've always been a losing proposition. Ultimately, 80% of the boxes you get are going to be losses. But it's still part of the fun of the hobby. And the problem is they've become just too expensive to even break for fun. Like $99 a box, I'll break that. I'll have some fun at $100 a box. I can afford that. But at regular price, it's $229 for a box of credentials or a box of Allure. I can't afford to spend $230 on fun like that. 100 I can get by. I can do that. So I hope that this is, again, I've only spoken to 2 card stores about this, but both have told me that they've pulled back on their distribution and they've asked for less hockey, specifically hockey, because it's not selling. It's not selling and they're taking losses. So I'll be curious to see if this kind of continues. And maybe this means that we will see a huge amount of discounted boxes at Expo also, if this is the case. Could be big. All right, buddy. Let's get to our pickups. What'd you pick up this week? Anything?
So the past 2 weeks, actually, these are my pickups. So yesterday came in the mail, Jake Gensel Future Watch. Picked this up last week. Didn't wait too long and kind of just pulled the trigger because I was like, you know what? Could hold on to this in the offseason. I don't mind it. Super underrated. And I mean, I'd rather have this than his Young Guns. And I picked up his Young Guns a while ago for around $25. And, I was like, all right, compare this with the Young Guns. Hopefully sell at Expo. He was on a line with Matthews and Jack Hughes at the Four Nations. Maybe he could get the same treatment during the Olympics, but pretty happy to grab that. Second guy, always buying this guy. And, I did so well last year in September picking up this Dylan Gunther stuff last year. But the one thing I told myself after that craze happened was if you're going to go all in on someone, you need to buy like their variations, their cup stuff, the exclusives, because this is the stuff that people want when he pops. Obviously having, 50 plus Young Guns is awesome. They moved pretty well, but this is the stuff where the real increases, are seen, especially with a beautiful patch like that. So I was happy to get that.
You only got to sell one of them to make $100, right? Whereas you got to sell 10 of the Young Gunthers to make the $100, increase on those, right? So it's just sometimes a little more easy. Like, I don't know. I'm also finding that Young Guns are not nearly as liquid as they once were. Just kind of my thought process.
I mean, let's save the conversation, but I pulled up this card before the show started when it was just me and you here. This Sam Bennett. I will not sell this. It's just not going to happen. I'm not going to be able to post it for 12 shipped. No one's going to buy it for $12. I can't sell it for $8 shipped. I'm probably not going to get $10 at the show for it. It's like, what do I do with it? Like, seriously, let's save the conversation because we kind of did get into that a couple months ago. But my last pickup was this Shane right here. I think another opportunity for him to have a big year, and I kind of like the patch too. That's what really got me attracted to this card because I believe this is part of the lower eye of whatever they are, the Kraken. So I like that. Don't love the grade, but like I said, I'm going after all this stuff this season. So if you guys have any Gunther or Shane Wright. Nope, no more Young Guns. I'm done. I'm out. Get them out.
Anyway,
those are my picks.
As much as I said that Young Guns are hard to move nowadays, I did pick up a couple. Picked up a Shesterkin, Young Guns. I ended up picking up what else? A Leo Carlson, a Boldy, Wyatt Johnston, Lil Slavkovsky. I mean, if you can still get them at a decent price, it is worth picking them up because people ask me all the time if I have those ones. But these are the other two that I picked up today at the shop that I thought were nice. Thought they were just a good price. Whoops, can't see them. All right, let's do it this way. I don't know if it's gonna.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Two rainbow, little marquee rookie rainbows of Nick Suzuki from O-Pee-Chee Platinum, both PSA 9s. Picked them up at a decent price, and just a little stack of Young Guns as well. A couple football cards as well. Kind of stacking up for a couple of people for the football season upcoming as well. But yeah, I'm excited though. There's a couple of shows in the Niagara region where I'm residing most of the time. Anthony, you'll be down in this neck of the woods as well this weekend. We got a show Saturday, Dolly's Niagara doing a show Saturday from 12 to 6, and they have a trade night from 6 to 8. So at Dolly's Niagara in St. Catharines, it should be a great show. Going to be mainly sports cards, I believe. I know that nowadays seems like Pokemon is half of every show. But I think he wants mainly sports cards at the show. So there's probably going to be a couple, in a few of these sports booths, but mainly sports cards for you hockey card junkies. Then the M&L show, which I sit up at every month as well, is going to be Sunday. They open up a third room. So apparently there's going to be 70 vendors. So it should be a nice big show for M&L. It's in St. Catharines also on Sunday. That one at the Holiday Inn from, I think it's 9 to 2, I think. 9 or 9:30. I think 9 to
2 p.m. Yeah, I got the flyer right here. 9 to 2 p.m.
Yeah, 9 to 2 p.m. Steel Town's got a show as well. And I think Leaside is doing a show in the Toronto area as well. So busy weekend of shows, busy Sunday specifically with 3 shows to choose from. But come see me at the M&L show. I think, Anthony, you're going to be at the M&L show too, right? You're going to be in Niagara this weekend?
I'll be there. I'll be in Niagara this weekend. Won't be at the Dolly's one on the Saturday. Will be at the M&L show on Sunday. So if you're there, come say what's up and bring me Gunther, Shane Wright, Matt Boldy, everyone. Bring them.
Jacob Perreault, specifically Jacob Perreault.
No. All right. Anyways, this was the Hockey Card Haven. Cheers to everyone for listening, and go do your thing. There you go.
That's right. That'll do it for us here today on the podcast. Thanks everyone for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe right here on YouTube, and you can also download for you on-the-go listeners. You can download the podcast on Spotify as well. We'll be back next Wednesday with another episode of the Hockey Card Haven podcast.